If I would have continually just walked through life hiding, shame, regrets, messes, embarrassments, all of those different things. If I were just to kind of shove that under the rug or keep that in my pocket and not really bring that out into the light or bring that out and have conversations with other people about that, then that really is a detriment in the way that destroys my integrity.
This is the Untamed Podcast, where only the few dare to go. We're building a community of adventurous high achievers who refuse to trade our dreams for comfortable mediocrity so that we can unleash our untamed potential. Could you be one of the untamed few? Now, your untamed hosts, Marc Lucas and Joel Fritz.
Joel, I know you know this, but don't believe the untamed few do know this. I got a new dog. He's awesome. His name's Maverick. I know we talked a lot about Top Gun.
It's my favorite.
In other podcasts, we named the boy Maverick. So just recently, I'm walking both dogs. I've got two dogs. One dog who's 13. She's pretty docile. She's pretty tame. She's not living untamed. She's pretty tame. She's just walking straight in her lane. And Maverick is just all over the place. I mean, he is just like trying to walk a bull, walking down the streets of Georgia. So I've got Toby here in this leash, and I've got Maverick here in this leash. And I mean, he's just all over the place. He's crazy, crazy trained. And every walk, like most dogs, they go poop. They poop. And Maverick, I realized, had just gone poop. And I thought to myself, you know what? This could be a really stupid idea, but I'm going to take the poop, put it in the poop bag, okay? Holding both the leashes in one hand, scooping up the poop, tying off the poop bag. And it's Marc. So hard. I feel like I would want to be more of an octopus with 8 arms to be able to navigate the crisscross of these dogs. I mean, it's not easy with 2 hands, 2 leashes, and now multiple poop bags. So this was the first poop bag, and I made the decision to tie the poop bag and slide it into the pocket.
Oh, didn't we just have a podcast about making decisions? Good decisions, Marc.
I know. Don't judge me yet. Okay, you can judge me. All right, the audience has already judged me.
Like I'm just in my mind, things are going to breaking bags and
I know. I mean, all of those thoughts flooded my mind. I'm like, you know what? I know these poop bags fairly well. I've been using them for a few years now.
Did you double bag?
No, I didn't. I probably should have.
Man, you are living untamed.
Living on the edge, untamed.
Risk taker.
So I tie it off and I make the decision to slide the poop bag right into the pocket. And I remember thinking to myself, a lot of thoughts.
I know what I'd be thinking.
I remember thinking to myself, okay, first off, this could go terribly wrong. Like, terribly wrong.
What will I tell my wife?
What will I tell my wife? What will the neighbors think when I strip down naked and walk home because I cannot walk with poop in my pocket, like real poop, not in the bag. So I slide it in and I think to myself, the first few steps, I couldn't get out of my head how gross it felt. The warm poop up against my leg. And I'm just wearing Viore shorts, so like workout shorts. So the warm poop up against my leg.
I don't know how much more I can handle.
It literally was just crazy. But I thought, you know what? I just really want both my hands to be able to hold both the leashes.
I really need both of my hands available right now.
I really do. You haven't met Maverick yet. I promise you. He's unruly.
Feeling like I would have been tying that leash off to something else.
He is a pit bull and he is strong. Pit bull lab. So anyway, so I do it. Okay. And the first probably 30 steps were just terrible. Like I just couldn't get the thought out of my head. But then as I walked, maybe like in the next 10 or 15 steps beyond 30, it got a little bit, not easy, but about a little bit easier because my mind was able to just kind of think about the walk and not just be fixating on the poop in my pocket. And I remember telling you, I think that same day or the next day, the story, I was like, at the end of the day, and again, we're going to work with this visual and this illustration, But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of us, and I know I've done this, where we kind of slide the poop into our pocket. And at first, it's just gross, obviously. It's just grotesque. But then as we kind of walk along in life, we kind of forget about it. And we kind of just justify it and say that it's just kind of normal. And I started to think about, you know what is the poop bag? What has been the poop bag in my pocket in different points in my life? And the poop bag could represent a bunch of things that we're going to get into, but it could represent regrets. It could represent shame. It could represent messes we've made, people that we've hurt, maybe hurts that have been done to us, things that we're carrying around. So it can just represent all of the gross messes and heaviness that we have in our life. And what I realized is because I probably still had another 10 minutes left in the walk. Honestly, I know this sounds crazy because probably nobody will do this but me. But I'm telling you from firsthand experience, when I got to the end of the walk, I mean, of course, I still remember that it was my pocket, but I really wasn't thinking about it. I really wasn't thinking about it at all. And I just thought to myself, you know what? How often have I justified something that I've done or something that I've done to others where I've hurt them, I've wounded them, I've inflicted some type of pain on them, where I've just kind of, as time has gone by, I've just justified it and really haven't made it to be out to that big of a deal, where I've kind of just almost even forgotten about it. And I think that's somewhat of a goofy illustration, but somewhat of a good illustration for us to kind of jump in and say, you know what is the poop that we have been, or maybe still are, carrying around? So,
well put.
I don't even.
And at the same time, my mind has gone in 1,000 different directions. I am disgusted. I am intrigued. I am like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I really need to figure out what the poop is in my pocket. I mean, there's a lot going on here, Mark.
I know. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome is all I can say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Just to put our listeners at ease. So there were no major consequences from this event?
No, there was no rupturing of the poop bag. So
Thank
I can
God.
just tell you.
All right. So sometimes our bad decisions, there is some redemption. they don't go as badly as they could.
I feel so much judgment from everybody right now watching and listening.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Hey.
I'm in the hot seat.
But he's a confident, untamed man.
I am a confident, untamed. Let me say one other poop to mention.
Oh, now we're going.
Of the story, okay. So there was this moment, Joel, and we're gonna make sense of all this. I promise. Stay with us in the poop journey. There was a moment where I had an opportunity to stand, as the untamed, beautiful audience knows. You and I both were in ministry, and I had this opportunity. We used to do these events called campus kickoff. So in a campus kickoff event, we as pastors and communicators, at this point, there were 2,000 students in the room. And we would rent out a water park, rent out a place, and it would be an all-nighter. And they would have all these inflatables and all these games. And then they would bring everybody in. We'd do some games in the auditorium. And then I would share the good news or share what it meant to have a relationship with God. And I remember thinking long about what I was going to share. And this idea came to me that's going to tie into what we're talking about now, where I would bring somebody up on stage, okay? And I would already have them screened to know that this person loved milk. So I brought this guy up on stage, and he loved milk. He was a big football guy, big jock. He loved milk. And he drank milk all day. Like he was just a big, almost gallon of milk every day, football guy. So I brought him up, and I had 2 cups of milk in glasses so you could see through. And I said to him, his name was Jeff. I said, Jeff, I know because I've been told how much you like milk. One of these glasses, we have frosty, ice, cold milk in both glasses. But one of the glasses, okay, and both glasses are yours. They're free. One of the glasses, though, I have taken the most minuscule, small amount of poop and dropped the poop into the glass. Stirred it around. And you can hold them up, you can look, you can do what, you can smell them, you can do whatever you want. You choose which glass of milk you're gonna drink. I should have been fired, I know. So, and Jeff, he chose to drink neither glass of milk, which is smart. But the point of it, and the reason why I'm sharing it now, and that was many years ago, is that we all have, even when we just have a little bit, a small amount of poop or mess that we've made in our life, okay, there is a big impact in the impact it has on us and other people. And the big impact is that we just don't have any desire to be able to live and hold on to those messes. It impacts us greatly. And that's what I shared ultimately in that moment. And there was a part of sharing the good news that came from that. But at the end of the day, we all have a little bit of poop that we are carrying around. Even if it's just a small little amount, we do have a little bit.
Yeah.
And we got to process, what is that poop?
Yeah, I think we do. And that ultimately, we're going to spend some time talking about exactly that. Like, guys, are you carrying poop around in your pocket? Crazy illustration, yes. Vivid, almost experiential, amazing. But I mean, this is the kind of thing we do. So I think where it causes my mind to go a couple of places here is that, you know, there's another adage when the crap hits the fan, and we can get a little more explicit, but this is not an explicit podcast, right? It's, you know, like that's another vivid illustration, but they both have to do with poop. I mean, it's the bad stuff, the excrement, the stuff that we don't want. But I think there's a decision that happens somewhere in there based on a circumstance. And you illustrated that really well. There's not high consequences. I mean, there could have been some high consequences, a cleanup, you know, some shame that you may carry around if your wife finds out, that kind of stuff. But low consequences in general. But we have to figure out what these things are, because at some point there were circumstances where we were juggling too many things, right? Dogs pulling this way, et cetera. Then we had to do something, and we made a decision that at the time felt like a good decision. But then it started to have consequences, or we began to carry it with us because we got used to it. And that is such a dangerous thing in our lives, because if we are carrying around things that we've gotten used to, but disgusted us only hours earlier or days or months before, but we're still carrying it around just because we got used to it, we've really got to do something about it. And it's only been about a week and a half since an example of that stuff hitting the fan, the poop hitting the fan, went viral at a Coldplay concert, if you'll remember. And this video went everywhere, and it went everywhere because it was amazing. These people were exposed because they were having an affair. They popped up on the kiss cam, right? And so then, boom, it shuts their world down. And the whole, obviously nobody wants to be in their shoes, but it's a perfect example of hiding something, right? And then it getting exposed. But they were carrying around, just like you said, they were carrying around that poop in their pocket. And then when it made a mess, it made a really big mess. Yeah. And so I made this short little video because so often I'll talk to coaching students or mentees, people that I have pastored over the years, et cetera, and tell them a very simple principle. And that is that small embarrassments are way better than big embarrassments. And it is always better to take care of and clean up our messes, as you started to talk about there. Clean up our messes before they become big messes. Because when they become big messes, sometimes it's irreparable damage to your reputation. Sometimes you get fired from your job. Sometimes it's big and your wife is going to leave you and she's not going to come back because what you did was a big enough of a mess. And so it's important that we deal with these things, that we're honest with ourselves when we deal with these things and we recognize, wait a minute, bro. And I would definitely tell you, Mark, it hasn't become a habit, has it? Like, this isn't your new thing. This is just a story for the purpose.
It was a one and done.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, again, we just have had some conversations in just a few episodes ago about core values. At the end of the day, when I look at the word, one of my core values is integrity. And we look at the poop in our pockets. If I would have continually just walked through life hiding what shame, regrets, messes, embarrassments, all of those different things. If I were just to kind of shove that under the rug or keep that in my pocket and not really bring that out into the light or bring that out and have conversations with other people about that, then that really is a detriment in the way that destroys my integrity. Mm-hmm. It hurts the integrity of us as men if we pretend and we continue to pretend that we have poop or we have regrets or we have messes, whatever that poop represents. If we pretend that we don't have that and we don't really share that with other people, there's this process of really kind of taking it out and being raw and real to say, listen, here is a mess. Here is a mistake that I've made. And I have the ability, we talked a lot about the importance of community and that we've never meant to live life alone. We're meant to live with others, people that we trust, people that walk life with us and want to pick us up and challenge us and encourage us. As I do, and you and I both do this, when I share things of messes that I make and I share that with you and you share that with me, there's this mutual exchange in those moments of us actually strengthening each other's integrity and character because that is done. I think as men, it can be really hard because it's easy to just kind of shove it down and keep it in our pockets and to not really process it out with people that we do trust, people that we can truly process these things with, because we're all going to have messes and poop in our pockets. But ultimately, we've got to process how do we bring that out and really kind of deal with it. What is that dealing with it process? And the last gross thing that I'll share, which ties into this process of really kind of bringing it out and dealing with it, because we can't pretend that it's not there. We can't pretend and just shove it under the rug and pretend that it's going to go away, because it will fester. It will continue to be magnified and get worse and worse.
It's still poop.
It's still poop, and it's going to get worse and worse. Yeah. And the worse and worse, my wife saw this actually the next day. We have 2 poop barrels, and we have 1 poop barrel for the dogs. It's in almost full sun in the backyard. And she opened it up just a few days ago, and there were seriously about 3,000 maggots living in that poop barrel.
Yeah.
So again, that is what happens when things are in the dark, not dealt with, and we continually just allow those things to magnify and fester and get absolutely out of control and gross.
Yeah.
So
it's just making me think, what could I share about, and I'd love something to come up and be able to share a specific story, but I think maybe most relevant in this situation, we did a podcast about porn not too long ago. And I think that's one of those things that I see affect men all the time. And it's one of those things that since we can make that decision out of the sight of other people, and because it's pushed on us, it's not even honestly our choice all the time, but that, image shows up on Instagram or something, and it's just 1 or 2 clicks away, that it's so easy to get into that's an easy one that we fall into, and it really holds us back. And so I feel like almost like I want to challenge any guys that are listening that might be one of those things to actually deal with, to take care of. I'm like carrying that poop bag around in my pocket, but I need to get it out of there because it's actually going to lead to other things. It's going to hurt my marriage. It's going to hurt even my performance at work, all sorts of things, because we really care about guys being able to succeed and experience that freedom. So, I mean, this story is just so good for any one of us to sit back and think through what are these areas of shame. And I know one of the things, like if I were to try and dig in and kind of be like, well, what can I be vulnerable about? I think I'd like men to hear, that I deal with insecurities of like, what do people think? And it's taken me a long time in my life to really come to terms with that, if you would. I think spend our 20s, our teens and 20s, kind of not really understanding, what's affecting us or motivating us. But as I've gotten older, I've started to realize how much an effect these insecurities, these thoughts of another human being and their feelings toward me. And I go, well, where did these things come from? And I start to kind of unpack that. And then as I get older, start to see the way that I respond with my kids and even in different circumstances, and how I kind of thought those insecurities would just disappear one day. Like they wouldn't be an issue. I mean, really, like I thought, oh, I deal with these now, but when I'm 30, they'll probably be gone because I'll be a grown up, right?
Right.
And then I'm 40, and when I'm 40, they'll be gone. I'll be a grown up, and now I'm 48, and those insecurities just sit back there, and they want to deteriorate. They want to hold me back from who I'm made to be. And I have to make choices on a regular basis to overcome those insecurities and say, no, that's not who I am. That's not the strength that has been given to me. And that's not the best thing for my kids, my wife, or the people that the Lord has given me influence over. And that is just, so I've got to continually step into that. That's one of those things. But if I didn't acknowledge that, if I didn't say I have these insecurities that I deal with, like I worry about what people think, then I can't overcome it. But because I have started to, and it's been a years-long process. I think I recognize these things in my 30s and have been processing through them. And I'm asking, how do I make good decisions, great decisions, in spite of what those insecurities try and tell me? And the more I do that, the more free I feel, truly. And I think that's a huge motivator for me when it comes to our decisions to call this movement Untamed. Because I look back and I go, man, who was I before the world told me who I should be? Who was I before I allowed the influence of other people to dictate my own view of myself? And to strip those things back and to ask a more major question, who was I made to be? Who have I been called to be? Because if I can understand that, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. That's what I should be doing, regardless of the cost, regardless of the discomfort that I feel. In fact, I should be practicing discomfort in order that I can do the things that I'm supposed to do in spite of the insecurities that I may feel at any given time.
It's so well said. I think as practical as I can be in this conversation, I know we've been pretty abstract with the story. I think for me, the takeaway when it comes to real practical step, we've talked quite a bit, several different times, about journaling through the vowels. We've talked about the A, the E, the I, the O, the U, and the Y. I'm going to focus in on the A just for a moment, because what happens in this journal process, and the reason why I have the privilege to walk men through this journaling process, a daily check-in with me, is that even just this morning driving here, I received one from a guy that I'm meeting with through a Zoom call. And the A is this. It's what do we need to abstain from? Because at the beautiful heart of A, it could be the hardest one in the updates of the vow. But the A says, I need to abstain from this. This is an area of poop. This is an area of a mess that I am making, that I've got to really get practical and hard with myself with accountability. How do I build habits to abstain from this? And this individual, every single day, I'm doing it as well with him, okay? We're in this process for the last 2 weeks, okay? He just started doing it with me, where every single day, he is getting raw and real with himself, with God, and with me. This is what he needs to abstain from. He's holding up the mirror, and he's saying, there is poop that I'm holding in my pocket right now. So he's talking about things like masturbation. He's talking about things like truly being pure in his relationship with his wife. He's talking about things like selfish tendencies. He's talking about things that he's doing that are dishonest at work. He's really getting raw and real to process. These are the areas right now that I need to abstain. And I am modeling with great authenticity the same thing back to him, because that's how we grow. That's why we care so much about what we're doing, is because we pray that God would use us to help men grow from the inside out. This is a tool, and the A is a part of the poop. What do we need to abstain from? What is the poop and the messes that we're making that we've got to build better habits and better disciplines, better self-control to not be able to walk in that poop anymore, to build accountability and build structure around abstaining from these things. I've shared with him even some of the things that I've shared with you, the resentments that I have kind of brought to light through this exercise of the vows. I need to abstain from resentments that I've been holding on to. Resentments that I've been holding on to. God, why am I here in Atlanta? Why did I leave what was a dream job, what I thought, in Phoenix, to be here in Atlanta with no job when I first arrived? And I've had to really abstain with some defensiveness and grudges and holding on to some things. All of those things, not just vague, but very granular, those things got to come out, because if not, that impedes our growth. If not, that impedes what God wants to do from the inside out, growing me and growing the untamed few. We've got to get raw and we've got to get real like that. I read in a book recently that confession that's not specific is like taking a shower with your clothes on. You've got to get specific in what you're sharing and evaluating your poop and saying, here's exactly specifically what I'm doing. The poop and the messes that I'm making, here's what I'm doing. Here's how I'm missing the mark of the things that I should be doing. And you've got to get specific. You've got to get as very specific as you can. And then you got to go find somebody that you trust. Joel and I do this all the time, and you can trust us. But find somebody that you can begin a relationship with, or you already have a relationship with, to be able to share this. Because there is growth, and there is healthy growth in life that happens in that.
Well, I mean, if we can encourage you to do anything, this is so awesome, but identify what that is in your life. I mean, did something happen along the way and it caused you to make a decision, and now you're carrying it with you as if it has become normal? Figure out what that is. I mean, like Marc said, it could be shame. It could be a bad decision. It could be decisions that you made, even if you're trying to just, be a little bit greedy here or there, or whatever it is, that compound. And, they could affect your areas of relationship. They could affect your job. It's just so many different things. But it all starts with integrity, right? It all starts with integrity and trying to be, or determined to be a person who is growing on a daily basis. And if you are growing, you don't want your growth held back. So we'd encourage you to recognize what it is. We'd also encourage you to find somebody. And that may be one of the hardest steps that you can take, because all of a sudden you've got to become vulnerable. You've got to go out and you got to find another individual and kind of trust them with your stuff. But if you don't, I mean, you might end up carrying that so many more years than you should have carried that burden, right? That mess with you. And a good friend will help you clean stuff up. That's just all there is to it. And if you don't think that they're out there, believe Marc and I, they are there. It just takes some effort to find them. And if you need a place to start, we're here to help you start.
And I would just say one thing on that last piece. What I have found to be successful in this, the very first time with a friend, confess all my skeletons in the closet,
Of course.
And share all the dirt that Marky Marc has committed over 49 years. What I do when I always coach guys is just take a little step,
A little
tester. It's kind of a hit and run. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're hanging out and you're watching the game that's on TV and it's just two of you. You maybe just throughout the night just seize an opportunity to say something like this. You know what, right now, and maybe this is your example, I don't know. You know what, right now, marriage has been a little bit hard because of this. And then you just step back and you see how he responds. Okay? You just start with one step. And then you start to build some trust in that mutual trust of an exchange of both people being vulnerable. And then I promise you, you will find the right person that's willing to take little steps, where you're able to fully trust and say, you know what? I can share the full poop that I'm carrying around in my pocket. Right now, maybe you just saw the minuscule that was in the milk, but I can actually share the full poop story with you, because now we've been doing life and we've both been vulnerable. We've both been authentic over the course of our friendship, whatever the time has been.
Yeah. And so part of our development process in the Untamed Few is forming up groups. And so I'm going to tell you right now, we are working on putting together something where we meet on a once a month basis virtually. And if you are interested in being a part of that, then make sure you drop a comment, you reach out to us, DM us, whatever it takes to get a hold of us, because we'd love for you to be a part of that. The intention of that is going to be that we will be people who form up some habits, some goals, and then once a month, we're going to meet together and talk about those things. It'll be kind of a small group type of a deal, and it can be virtual or in person, but we're working on putting that together because that's a core element of what we believe guys need to be the best that they can be.
I just want to say and encourage all men. These are hard conversations, but we have hard conversations because we care about them. We care about us together. We're in this together.
Yeah.
We are in this together, growing together, and we encourage all of you to live untamed. This is a live untamed conversation.
That's right. So do it. Go and do it.
If this episode sparked something in you, please subscribe and even share it with someone who's ready to take their life to the next level. We're always on the hunt for men who are looking to become untamed and release their untamed potential. Also, if you found value in this conversation, then please rate the podcast and leave a comment. It makes a huge impact in building our community. We'll see you next time when the adventure continues, or maybe when yours begins.